you know I'm all about that bass, no trouble. I'm all about that bass,
This guy.
We're just going to do 50, so I'll give you a call soon. Alright, brother. See you soon.
I wish you'd share the address with me.
We'll get used to it in
Congrats, right. Short, sharp, how you wanted it?
Yep, short, sharp. Going in, I was trying my best to follow the plan, and I started throwing body shots, which we were working on for a tall opponent. And just there was a few things wrong that I knew that I did wrong, and me and Kevin were discussing after the fight. Like, we were working on going back and making angles, but I went straight back, and then I sort of looked at him. He's like, come on, do what we did. But in the end, we caught him with a nice shot, and it all started from the body shot that we were working on.
You could see his elbows drop quite quickly. Is that what you saw?
Yeah. I saw his elbows. Once Kevin told me to step in with the right hand to the body, and once that started landing, you could see him try and cover up every time I tried to go to the body. So it was short, but it was good.
Desired result for you, Kevin?
Yes, we've worked, when I mentioned that I had a couple of personal challenges to Joe, one of them was a left hook to the head, and he's got a tremendous left hook to the head, and he threw it a couple of times tonight, but that wasn't the shot that knocked him out, but the left hook is something that's really developing. We all know that Joe's got a phenomenal right hand, but he's got a great left hook to the head, and he's got a fantastic left hook to the liver that's going to, in the future, going to put a lot of people on the canvas. And they're two things that I was looking to see a little bit more of tonight. But obviously, with the firepower that he had, it was just too much for Daniel Martz.
I was looking for that as well, but something else landed. So I was like, the next shot I was planning was actually throwing it for Kevin. But this one,
The left hand did seem to move him on to the right hand, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You were definitely moving around with that left hand tonight, which I haven't seen so much before.
So what was the conversation? I remember you turning around and looking at Kevin at one point where they broke up. Tussle. What did you say to him at that point?
What did I say?
He couldn't say much, you can't really hear much in the corner, but you can tell by the facials that he was giving. And then the movement, so you knew what he was saying.
Yeah, what I was saying is, Joe, why are you looking at me?
We have that bond, that kind of bond where we can just read what he wants to do by his facials.
We spend a lot of time on game plans for all our fights. And it's something that, we don't leave it for chance. That's something that we spend day after day after day diligently rehearsing. And so, I know that we have a very good bond. And, Joe does look to me for reassurance, for advice, or just for, you're doing it right, or, so it's something that we have, and it's something I appreciate. It's something special that we have.
People are never really going to talk about the length of the fight, but this fight is about building skill sets, isn't it? Not much more than that. That's what this is all about.
Look, this fight is all about the fact that we fought 5 times in the last 9 months for a total of 10 rounds. And I think what that has shown is Joe has as much firepower as any heavyweight in the world. Sure, Daniel Martz wasn't a top 10 fighter, but one thing I can say is next year we have a number of top 10 fighters that we're negotiating with now that we're going to put in front of Joseph Parker. We've had 3 years together. He's now 17-0 with 15 KO. He's ranked right across the board by all the sanctioning bodies, and the WBO, as you heard me say tonight, have now put him in at 4. So, we're in a very solid position. And next year, I know our promoter, Mr. Dean Lonergan, who's just walked into the room, has been very busy travelling the world this year, getting in front of all the sanctioning bodies and getting in front of a number of promoters to put top 10 opponents in place for us for next year.
Dean, tell us a little bit about that, about manoeuvring Joe into those fights in the top 10.
I think it's really, the situation's changed after last weekend's result. You know, it's taken me about a week to get my head around exactly what's going on, talking to promoters around the world and who's going to be fighting who. And what's becoming apparent is that Joseph Parker, through probably the IBF and the WBO, is going to have magnificent opportunities next year. And I've got to be honest, we look at some opponents in the BC as well, and I can see Joseph moving very fast through that. I'm of the opinion, and we talked to Kev a lot about this, and who we're going to fight, when we're going to fight, what we're going to do. We're going to stay very active over the next 12 months, and Kev, myself and Joe have talked about, you know, maybe 6 fights in 12 months, but it comes down to who we fight, if we can keep that sort of schedule up. We're looking at right now, you know, I expect in the next 8, maybe 9 months, we could get as high as the #1 mandatory in one of the 3 organisations that we are very active in, and that's going to be the BC, the IBF and the WBO, and we're talking with senior people inside all those organisations. We talk to them on a regular basis, so the first thing we'll do on Monday is basically send the fight up to all these appropriate people with letters as to exactly what happened so they know, and then we get on the phone and we're selling it in, and you know, we're going to play the political game to get where we need to be. And for Joseph Parker, you know, that was the first time we fought someone 6'7", comes through with flying colours, and you can expect going forward. Obviously, we've got our first southpaw, Jason Bergman in Samoa, but you can expect going forward there'll be a lot more 6'7", 6'8" guys as we get prepped to fight for the world title. And every now and then we're going to take a fight that's really going to move us through the rankings. So we're very, very excited. I think it's you know, Joseph's really come on under both, you know, Kevin's tutelage and also the hard work that he's put in, and I just cannot wait for the next 12 months, because we've been talking about this for some time and it's all coming together very, very fast.
That's a long answer.
That's a very excited promoter.
My goal is to
But
speak like
this is the time when you earn your money, isn't it? Because this is where it gets into manoeuvring. This is where you
We have to manoeuvre both politically, and we also have to manoeuvre with the right fights. And it's fair to say that, you know, we've got a lot of people around the globe work on this, but the 2 head guys we talk to are obviously Kevin Barry and Stuart Duncan, our matchmaker. And we make decisions as a team from there. We pretty much present Joe and say, this is who we want you to fight. Are you keen? Joe always says, of course I am. He's quite, you know, and we saw the other day, it's the first time we've seen it, Joseph Parker and Kevin Barry have come out and says, you know, we can beat both Vladimir Klitschko and we can beat Tyson Fury. Of course, being the promoter I am, I would have said we can beat them both in one night.
Dean, these opportunities eventually would mean that you'd have to fight more offshore.
No, the plan is to fight as much as we possibly can in New Zealand. I definitely see the sands have shifted in terms of moving away potentially in America. Now, I'm working hard that we'll probably be fighting on a Sunday afternoon in New Zealand going forward, so we can sell the fights into American Prime TV. That's very important for us, and that's going to happen. But right now, England has become the hotbed of heavyweight boxing. You've got 4 or 5 guys who are right at the top of the tree there, and we need to get on the map. So I can see 3 or 4 fights here in New Zealand, and maybe a fight in England, maybe a fight in America. We'll wait and see, but for the time being, our foreseeable future is here.
Can you give us targeted names?
Not yet. We're working on it, you know, and the last thing we want to do is, before we clinch a deal, is give away who we're going to be fighting, because they might turn around and ask for more money. And I can promise you right now, it's very difficult to get guys to come to New Zealand. We have to pay in US dollars. The currency's going against us right now. We're in a world global market. And mate, people don't want to come down because they see what happens on a regular basis when you come to fight Joseph Parker.
So, Southpaws, this is what's next. What happens when you get back into that camp and start it again?
Well, obviously, you know, it'll be Joe's first southpaw fight, so we have to change things around a little bit. A lot of the combinations that we've been throwing for the last couple of years are actually geared for orthodox and southpaws. But I've got sparring partners already booked for our 2nd week in camp, and we'll be doing a 4-week camp in Vegas before coming back and fighting in tomorrow.
Your assessment of the performance overall tonight?
I think the assessment has to be on the performance of the year, you know, and it's been a tremendous year for us. We stood here last year and we said that what our goal was for the year, and you heard me say it in the ring, was to be ranked by all the sanctioning bodies in the top 5 by 1. Well, we've achieved that goal. And you heard Dean say before that our goal for next year is to have Joe in the mandatory position with one of the sanctioning bodies, and that is our goal. And that's what we're going to do, everything in our power to manoeuvre and improve the skills of Joe to get him ready to win a mandatory position next year and put him in line for a world title shot.
So there's going to be no real break for Joe because he has to fight next month?
He gets 3 weeks. He'll go straight basically in camp with Kevin to Samoa, then he has 3 weeks off, then we roll it out again. Mate, well, you know what, Kevin keeps saying this, Joe is the most active heavyweight in the world, right at the top echelon. I couldn't believe the stat that Kevin came out with the other day. I think Tyson Fury in 3 years has only fought 4 times.
4 times in 3 years.
Well, Joe, crikey, we're going to bang that out in a year. We're going to bang out 4 fights in probably 8 months. You know.
How's Tyson Fury's decision to fight Klitschko affected the way that you are going to operate over the next little while?
It's really fascinating, actually. If they make that rematch, the IBF has mandated that they have got a mandatory challenger called the Vazklov, right? So the word I've been told is that Tyson Fury is going to throw in the IBF belt, which means that Vazklov will then turn around and fight the next highest guy, which is Charles Martin. If you guys go away and have a look at what that does to the rankings, Charles Martin and Vazklov are both ahead of us in the WBO. So if they come out, we go up. It's as simple as that. So we're going to be lobbying hard to make sure if those spaces become available, we take them. And then I've been told, you know, and I've talked to promoters all around the world, that if Vazklov can win that fight, potentially Anthony Joshua is next. Well, guess who's above us? The only fighter left above us in the WBO. It's Anthony Joshua. So as you can see, these things are the whole division's starting to open up, and we're going to be pursuing the WBO, the IBF and WBC very hard to be in that #1 spot in a perfect world in 8 to 10 months, but we'll see how it goes.
2016.
It's the year.
There you go.
Awesome. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Ross.
Thank you.
Thanks for the year, mate.
Yeah, you too.
It's been a big year, gentlemen.
Yeah.
We look forward to another big one next year.
So congratulations, Joe. Obviously, mission accomplished. You've now 17-0 and another convincing knockout tonight.
It's always great to get the win. You know, it's, we work hard. We train our asses off in the gym. We give it 110%. So it's always great to get a great result.
And obviously, it's against a big man as well, because obviously big men are ruling heavyweight roost at the moment.
Yeah, majority of them are all bigger than I am. So it's good to start practicing now. And I'm not saying that Daniel Martz wasn't a contender, but I'm just saying that, you know, it's good to start somewhere. And he was the perfect opponent to end the year with. And no, caught him with a few good shots. Happy with.
Sorry, mate.
That's all right. No worries.
Okay, and you're obviously looking forward to fighting in Samoa next month, so obviously not going to be getting much of a break between now and then, and you have to watch what you eat.
Yeah, I leave back to Vegas next week for training. We leave on Sunday and we've got a 4-week camp, so I'll train through Christmas and New Year's. Probably Christmas I can have something nice to eat. Hopefully Kevin allows me. If he doesn't, I'm going to sneak it. But you know, now this fight's finished, I can move my focus onto this Samoa fight, and now I can focus on my opponent. Now I have to go find. I mean, we already announced it, but I have to find out what his name is because I didn't actually. I forgot what his name was.
He's a southpaw.
I know he's a southpaw.
Jason Burton.
So yeah, so that's my next opponent. I can focus on him now because my full focus was on Daniel Martz leading up to this fight.
Is your senses going to overload though when we sort of see the shake-up of the division, because there's so many guys now and you know within yourself that you can beat them, you know, it's first. So, you know, have you got anyone in particular or just that's just your management? Or?
No, I mean it comes down to our decision for a team, you know, myself, my management team, my promoters and my coach Kevin. And I'm confident in what I can do in the ring. I believe fully that if I train hard and work hard and put in the work and get good guidance from Kevin and support from my team, that I can beat anyone in the world. That's what I truly believe. But I'm not looking at fighting any particular opponent. You know, it comes down to the decision we all make.
Tonight he talked it up during the week. The big man, didn't he? But you know, it was nice to put him out easy first round.
Yeah, you know, first round, you know, I'm happy now I can go and have a burger. Half price beef and chicken, I think they're doing, so I can have one of those. But you know, he talked about he believed in himself and what he can do in the ring. So you know, it's just that he came across someone. I believe that my strengths in the ring is speed, movement, and you know, I've developed a lot of power throughout my time with Kevin. So I believe those are my strengths, and I used it tonight.
What do you have to look at, like after such an easy victory like that? You know, going into that Samoa fight, what do you actually?
We still got a lot to work on. I mean, for southpaw, it's a lot different. You know, a lot of combinations we're working on with Kevin. You know, we can approach the southpaw with those combinations, but it's still different movement. Like for a right-handed fighter, you have to move to the right. For a left-handed fighter, you have to move to the left. So we want to practice in training camp with different sparring partners to be able to approach the style that he brings and and do our best.
I know Kevin said in the ring that you've been proving yourself as perhaps one of the hardest punchers in the heavyweight division. Is that kind of like a message that you want to send out to the rest of the division, the power that you think you've grown?
Yeah, I believe that a lot of, other heavyweights around the world don't think I have power, but I'm telling you, jump in the ring with me and you'll see. Jump in the ring and you'll see if I have power or not. I believe that throughout my time with Kevin, I've been able to develop a lot of power and a lot of speed and still developing a lot of skills and techniques. So it takes time, but we'll eventually get there, and I'm getting more and more confident in what I can do.
What else do you need to work on? What else is left?
A little example about today is that when he came forward, I moved straight back, and I should be making angles. So we worked on moving back and making angles, but I wasn't able to practice it today. I don't know, maybe my leg was a bit itchy that I couldn't really move to the side. But with fights coming up, I'm definitely going to work on it and show Kevin and myself that I'm actually improving, listening, and doing what we have to do.
Dante's about to defend his title. Do you rate Dante as highly as Fury or Klitschko, or how do you see Dante in weights?
Well, Dante is a good fighter, and I believe he's where he is today because he worked hard. And he is the champion, so I rate him up there with him. You can't say he's not a good fighter because he's the champion of the world. So of course he's up there with the rest and the best. So my goal is to work my way up there slowly and get to that level.
Cheers, Joe.
Thanks, bro.
Good stuff. Cheers, Joe.
Cheers, bro.
It's a pleasure, man.